playing. Quit playing. I didn't do this stuff. This is not me, y'all. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
Yes, we have come to the fourth and final quarter of this debate, and it seems like we've gotten only but so far, but there's a whole lot of buckshot and blonde hair flying all over the place, and nobody's really winning. I don't even think I am. But if y'all would like, please like, share, subscribe. Let me get a little bit of love. Because I'm trying to do these in one. I'm trying to do most of these in one take. But here's the fourth and final part of the Virginia gubernatorial debate, and then hopefully we can get into more mischievous topics.
I support the Roe standard, which is what this codification of a constitutional amendment moving forward would be. That's what I will support as governor, though I will not have a vote on it. I will support it. But importantly, my opponent has threatened murder to women who have had abortions. That is not the type of leadership we need here in the Congress.
You're out of time. I just want to follow up.
I need a rebuttal.
Ms. Rosiers, I have to follow up right now because it was difficult for me to hear Ms. Spanberger, and I need to make sure that I have clarity on her answer. So just to be clear, are there any limits that you support in terms of abortion access, including for minors? You have 30 seconds.
I support the current laws within Virginia, which include limits on minors obtaining abortions, which include limits in after the second trimester. I support those.
Bitch, please.
Really, I mean, madam, Virginia is probably said one of the most lax when it comes to abortion/women's rights. Virginia is one of the most lax of states. And it said, I'm sorry, I gotta stand on this one. Post second trimester, unless it involves loss of life. Nope. I can't eat it. Nope. I do not buy. Find somebody else.
The current laws here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that is what is moving forward as a constitutional amendment here in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. We are now going to move on to immigration.
I thought I was going to get an opportunity to rebut.
We're moving on to other topics. We have a lot to cover with Ms. here, so we'll get to you in a moment on a different topic. For now, it's immigration and public safety. We're going to start with Governor Glenn Youngkin has tasked Virginia State Police with helping ICE to remove people living in the country illegally. Ms. Spanberger, we're going to start with you. You've said using local and state police for ICE raids is dangerous. Are there any situations in which you would support local law enforcement assisting ICE? You have 60 seconds.
Absolutely. I'm a former federal agent. I used to work narcotics and money laundering cases. I regularly worked on task force arrests and search warrants in partnership with local and state police as a federal law enforcement officer. Importantly, anytime there is a warrant, an arrest warrant, a search warrant to detain someone, absolutely local law enforcement, local resources should and must be employed. That is why, as my opponent has somewhat erroneously said, I never, ever would support making Virginia providing any sort of sanctuary policies here, because local and state law enforcement must always work with federal agencies when there is a warrant. Importantly, what I have been talking about, and anytime there is someone with any level of criminality, someone wanted for a criminal offense, absolutely that cooperation shouldn't just occur, but it must.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. Now, Ms. Earl Sears, you've said you support local law enforcement's involvement with ICE raids, but critics argue that in high immigrant communities, they're seeing fewer people reporting crimes and cooperating with police. Now, are you concerned about those negative impacts to public safety? You have 60 seconds.
So I'm just going to say, folks, go to SpanbergerLies.com. I think we're about up to number 10. She's accused me of murder, which is very...
Ma'am, what, do we need to have like a lie counter? Because I mean, I'm not going to say you exactly lying, but ma'am, you got a whole lot of bullshit coming out of that tethered mouth.
very interesting because the very person who spouted murder, you won't even say that they should get out of the race. And now you're talking about this? My goodness gracious. We have found 4,000 illegals who are criminally here. And the number 3 MS-13 gang leader here we have found communist Chinese gangs here. We have found cartel members here. And they're here because my opponent did not vote to shut down our borders. And because of you and that vote, fentanyl came across the borders and killed 5 Virginians every week. Where were you when we needed you for that vote? And then out of your own mouth, Abigail, you have said the first thing you're going to do is to make Virginia a sanctuary state. I didn't say that. You said
Ms.
that.
Earl Sears,
that's your lie.
Ms.
If
Earl
you're
Sears,
going
your
to
time
say
is
that.
up, and the question was, are you concerned?
Ma'am, you realize even if Virginia was a sanctuary state, you realize that the flow of fentanyl is still going to be interstate. I mean, spoiler alert, you ever been to West Virginia? I mean, there's 2 things that they appreciate out there: their opioid crisis and having field days with melanated people like you. They don't care if you served in the Marines. You better you better bring out your inner GI Jane if you go up there, because you know West Virginia's full of them sundown towns, right?
Concerned about people not being able to or not cooperating with police, those people who are here possibly illegally for fear of being deported? That was the question we were looking for, the answer to that question. You have 15 seconds to clarify.
So, as an immigrant to this great country, I understand that the first part of obeying the laws of the country is that we have to obey the laws of the country. And
What did you say, nigga?
You stated the most obvious thing. I mean, if I don't follow the law, there's this thing, it's called bad things happen, consequences. And plus it said, oh, you put your immigrant status before you put your black card status. I mean, not that you have much of a black card that we can really pull. Because, yeah, we know how you tried to link slavery and DEI. I think we spoke very briefly about that. So, ma'am, you ain't ducking us. And it said, if I were you, I'd be trying to figure out how am I going to get the black vote, considering that the black vote is probably going to lean Democratic. Another reason why why Virginia's about to go blue. Blue with the clue, or without a clue, depends on how you look at it.
I am focusing on those who are criminally illegally here, and we don't need them here. And my opponent did not vote for the Lake and Riley Act, which simply said if you're criminally illegally here, murderers, rapists, pedophiles have to go back home.
We're going.
So, ma'am, what if I'm just here and I don't have a visa or anything? Wouldn't that mean I'm here illegally? Man, we might have to have we about to have a little intermission because I think we may have a little bit of leftover time, but don't quote me on it. But let's go.
Going to move on to the next topic. education with my colleague Deanna.
Thank you, Tom. Now, on the topic of education, educating children in the Commonwealth is a top issue for Virginia voters in this election, as it was 4 years ago. Ms. Earl Sears, you have stated you want parents more involved in their children's education. Would you include parents in designing school curriculum, or should that be left up to the educators? You have 60 seconds.
Yes. So I absolutely believe that parents ought to be involved in their child's education. You know, I am my child's first teacher, and I don't co-parent with the government. And so,
Ma'am, you realize your schools are regulated by whether it be your local, state, and even the federal government. So, yeah, you kind of co parent with them. Otherwise, you may not see this thing called graduation, and your kid may eventually drop out. So, we don't tell that lie.
that's why I strongly support parents being involved in education. But you know who doesn't? My opponent, Abigail Spanberger. She had the opportunity to vote for the Parents' Rights Act, but she didn't. It simply said this: if the curriculum is being changed, then I need to know as a parent. Abigail, why did you vote?
Don't you think, if parents, teachers, and the student work together, don't you think they're going to eventually know these things? Not trying to throw shade on the act, but that thing that you kind of saying that that people are lacking that you're not showing.
Get out!
Against parents on that. And it also said if my child is not on grade level, reading, writing, arithmetic, all of that by the third grade, then I as parent needs to know. Abigail voted against.
I would think the parents would need to know immediately, like regardless if it was first day of kindergarten to spring break of pre-K. I would figure the parents would need to know these things.
The parents knowing where their child was by the time they were on grade level. Why would you do that? Why are you voting against parents? Why are you not voting for them? Then she voted against the parents knowing whether there was violence in the schools.
Man, we about to throw the petty card. Okay, about against parents not knowing about violence in the schools. There's this thing. It's called lamestream media, cell phones. I'm sure if I was in high school and something was breaking out and I had a cell phone, rest assured, if I didn't have one, especially in this time of period, if I didn't have one, I'm sure that 2,000 other people will have one. It's that little thing called TikTok. I mean, I don't use it, but people put this kind of stuff up. Or maybe you need to do some research about some of the more dysfunctional things that you can see.
Abigail, this is a simple question. Why did you vote for that? Why would you vote for parents not knowing if violence is being committed?
Ms. Earl Sears, I have a follow-up question for
Yes,
you. I'm specifically asking not just about general involvement in education, but about designing the school curriculum more specifically. So is that something you believe parents should be involved in, or do you believe that educators should be taking the lead and it should be left up to them? You have 30 seconds.
As I said, parents, we are their parents all day, twice on Sundays. We are their parents. We must be involved. How will we know what is happening in the schools? How will we know if our children are being educated? When Ralph Northam, the Democrat governor, voted to shut down government, he shut down our schools. And as a result, there was a learning loss. And my opponent, Abigail Spanberger, when we wanted to reopen the schools, the governor immediately said upon inauguration, the schools must be open. Abigail said, no, they must be out for a whole semester.
Dinner's
She
ready.
took all that money from the teachers union, and that's what they wanted, and that's what
Ms. Earl Sears, you're
for.
out of time. Ms. Spanberger, should the governor and state agencies decide which books are in school classrooms, or should parents have a voice in that decision? You have 60 seconds.
I'm a mother of 3 daughters in Virginia public schools.
Say another motherfucking word and this shit is over.
Ma'am, like Winnie and her GI tales of being GI Jane with the 1,000-yard death stare, we're very well aware that you are a mother of three, because Winnie herself is a mother as well. She really hasn't brought that part up. It said, and this is where cases to where you might be coughing. You can cough this back up to the Republicans when y'all really are in the accelerating seat. The Trumplicans are slowly depleting themselves in Virginia. I mean, we're almost at the point to where this could almost be yours to lose. Don't put yourself in that spot. Winnie's already self-sabotaged herself. You ain't too far behind.
And just this week, I have spent time at my daughter's school for a school event, and I have emailed with another one of my daughter's teachers about her ongoing work. So she should be advised that I've had some of that communication. But it is important that parents are involved every step of the way, as I have been.
Then
In
why
fact,
did you vote against
with
the
my
Rights Act?
with my
Sears,
ninth
please.
grade daughter, who is actually here with us in the audience, it's because of communication from her teacher that I purchased the books that she'll be studying. Parents in
Ma'am, I think you would have to have the books purchased. You act like you were saving my cats from a fire. Knock it off.
engagement is extraordinarily important, and I support the strength of our public schools because public schools across Virginia provide
But your vote was
opportunity.
not
They
that.
provide opportunity
Ms.
to
Earl
students everywhere. And unlike my opponent, I do not support
You are
defunding
your
public
vote,
Ms. Earl
schools.
Sears.
I do not support taking public dollars out of public schools, as my opponent has advocated
you
for the
say, but
entirety.
not
Ms.
what
Earl
you
Sears.
do.
Ms. Earl Sears, we're not going to be able to get to as many topics if we keep having to give Ms.
Yeah,
Bamberger
but
time
she
as you're
continues
interrupting
to
her.
lie. I think I'm up to lie 12.
But Ms.
Say it again. Say something else. Oh, say something else.
Man, you trying to count all these lies and everything? Man, you need to be worried about getting that seat. Because it said, oh, I'm going to say it this way. And with the little bit of time that we have left, right now, this is looking like one of those. This is like, let's see, this is that boxing match. You know, it went all 12 rounds. Everybody still got pretty faces. Nobody really got roughed up. And it's like, it's going to be a split decision. Only problem is, which way is it going to go?
My
Ms.
opponent
Earl
is
Sears,
Abigail.
you will have chance.
to answer your question, Lieutenant Governor. It was federal government overreach and
moving
an
on to the next
unfunded
topic.
mandate.
Yeah, here
That
we
is
go.
what I told my
Candidates.
Here we
Republican
go.
colleagues
We're
at the
moving on
time.
to
If
the
you
next
want to be
topic now.
federal, you should have stayed in
Ms.
Congress.
Earl Sears,
I said it was
it's
federal.
time.
Well, if you had a problem, Winnie, why don't you take your tethered ass up to Congress? Yeah, they really put you in your place up there. I mean, you see the work they trying to do to Jasmine Crockett, and I don't even like Jasmine Crockett too tough, but they gonna shag you out, especially with them Republicans. What, you gonna try to kiss up to Marjorie Taylor Greene and Laura Hobart? Oh wait, no, who's that? Who's that other one? Who's the other one? I remember seeing throughout the media. Was it Valentina Gomez? You know, yeah, she was the one that got her brother fired because of her own rhetoric. Yeah, yeah, don't do that, Winnie. That's just saving you.
Move on to the
If
next
you wanted
topic.
to be
So
federal, you should have
Moving
stayed
on to the
in
next
Congress.
topic now, please. We're going to go to Ms. Spanberger here on the topic of marijuana. You have stated your support legalizing a retail market for recreational marijuana that prioritizes public safety. What public safety concerns do you have? You have 30 seconds.
It's important that there be transparency in what is available on the market. As a former federal agent who worked narcotics cases, as a CIA officer who tracked transnational criminal organizations, as the only person on stage who's had bills signed into law by President Trump related to stopping the flow of fentanyl into our
you're talking over
country.
each other. Please continue.
Ma'am, where does my weed and y'all's fentanyl problem connect? I'm failing to see it.
As the only person on stage who's had a bill signed into law by President Trump restricting fentanyl flowing into our country and tightening our border security, and as the only person on stage with the endorsement of the Police Benevolent Association, it is extraordinarily important that we have transparency and that there is a clear market in order to be enforced, because it is in the absence of an open and clear and extraordinarily transparent market that law enforcement.
Okay, so if the market was so clear and transparent, how come y'all have a problem regulating it? I mean, I'm kind of the person, if you wanted to medicalize it and you want me to make it a real simple solution, why don't you have the weed shops at the DMV? I'm sure the turnout rate would be phenomenal. It'll be consistently monitored, because considering that DMVs have armed security, see, a simple solution, not all of this salad that you have Apollo Creed and Drago talking about, if you get the reference, or Ebony and Ivory, whichever you prefer.
Enforcement is not able.
I don't even know what you're saying.
Ms. Spanberger, your time is up. Now we'll go to Ms. Earl.
Man, I'm throwing a foul on that one. Y'all need to give her that one, because it said Winnie been trying to cut in, and that's it said that's gonna get her torn up.
Sears on this issue. The governor has twice vetoed bipartisan efforts to legalize a retail market for recreational cannabis. Would you sign a bill legalizing the commercial sale of any cannabis products in Virginia? You have 30 seconds.
I believe in medicinal marijuana. I believe it has value. But I had a business, and when I had my business and my employees came up positive for marijuana, they couldn't work for me. They couldn't drive my trucks. They couldn't go in and repair anything. We were working on gas. We're working on electric. We can't afford to have people who are working and they don't know what they're doing. They'll blow everything up. Now,
Ma'am, you are reaching like Reed Richards. I mean, if you wanted to have the topic of the dangers of marijuana, yes, I could agree with you about things like impaired driving or impaired judgment. But I mean, things on like the Delta Victor side of life, the kind of the Ike and Tina review, and not referencing to the band or the music, but their married life. Yeah, you really won't see that too much from that sweet chronicky goodness. And let's see how else. And also another reason why the DMV was such a would be such a good idea, because you can regulate it, and it said people from 21 and up. I mean, you have ABC to enforce all these bars. You should be able to have a division that can enforce all this weed, so we can be the Colorado of the East Coast, actually have a surplus and not be negative in the debt. Think about that, Winnie. And that's coming from a laissez-faire person.
opponent, I don't understand. She says one thing and then she does another, or she does one thing and says another.
Dinner's
You
ready.
can't figure her out.
Ms. Earl Sears,
Which
your time
one?
is up.
Who are you,
Ms.
Abigail?
Earl Sears,
Ms.
we are
Earl
moving
Sears,
on
we're
to talk
moving on.
about the current administration, and I'm going to be starting with you for this topic. A central theme of your campaign is "Let's keep a good thing going," referring to Governor Youngkin's time in office. Is there anything that you would do differently? You have 30 seconds.
So the governor and I have had many talks, as you can imagine, and we ran as a team and we work as a team. And I've been previously elected in 2001, and then I left political office. And, I saw how badly our children were not being educated. And so I came back. I said, somebody ought to do something. And I figured that was me. So the governor and I, as I've said, we've created all of these wonderful jobs. In fact, my opponent was before the State Chamber of Commerce and saying in January that she was running on the successes of all the businesses that we've been able to bring here. Now she's suddenly running away from it.
Just a quick follow-up, Ms. Earl Sears. So is there one thing that you would do differently from Governor Youngkin? You have 15 seconds to clarify.
So you know who wasn't running away from all the wonderful successes we've had in bringing jobs here? My opponent. She loved everything that we've done. So why would I run away? And by the way,
Say another motherfucking word and this shit is over.
Ma'am, why are you swaying from the question? This is another way you're giving Virginia back the blue. And I'm not talking about back the blue like, back up law enforcement, but you're giving Virginia back to the blue. The blue no matter who. Go ahead. Keep it up.
the things that I'm talking with the governor about, I'm not going to disclose here to you.
Okay.
So you just took away part of your momentum of what the conversation that you and Youngkin had. But if you're trying to be governor, you have to have some kind of criticism, or are you going to stay playing mammy? Because that's probably the reason why Donald Trump ain't give you shit. He snubbed you on his endorsement. He endorsed Jason Miyares. He endorsed Tony Montana before he endorsed you. Ma'am, what does that say about you? And we about to wrap this up because this.
Thank you, Ms. Earl Sears. Ms. Spamberger, Governor Youngkin is wrapping up his term with positive approval ratings, according to our Emerson College Next Star poll. Are there any Youngkin policies or priorities you would keep if you were elected governor? You have 30 seconds.
Absolutely. I think Governor Youngkin has made a strong path forward on advanced nuclear, welcoming advanced nuclear here to the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's something that I supported during my time in Congress, and as governor, I will continue to ensure that Virginia can be a leader. Ma'am, that is not true.
That's true.
I support an all of the above strategy, and I think advanced nuclear is extraordinarily important.
To let her speak.
But importantly, places where I do differ, would be on the fact that Virginia lost its place as.
Ma'am, shut the fuck up. It's hard for people to pay attention when you're trying to talk. When you're trying to talk over them. It said this whole debate was like a whole Saturday Night Live skit. Only thing we missing is, what is it? A fly landing on the forehead of Sloppy Joe, was it? I don't remember off the top of my head.
The number one place for business, and we have had 7 months of rising unemployment rates here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and I would work to lower costs and grow our economy.
Thank you, Ms.
In the face of these challenges.
Thank you, Ms. Spamberger. We're moving on to our next question.
Yeah, we are winding down tonight, and we want to end with one fun question. So this will be, I think, something that'll bring a smile to our faces tonight. The mother of presidents is the state of Virginia. Little history lesson here. So Virginia has 8 U.S.-born presidents. We'll start with Ms. Spamberger. Which one is your favorite? You have 30 seconds.
As a UVA alumna, I'm going to have to go with Thomas Jefferson.
Go Hokies. I mean, Yeah, because Thomas Jefferson was smoking more weed than Cheech Marin and getting himself a little deeper in the dark into the more melanated women, like he was formerly Travis Kelsey.
And why?
Because he started the university. With all due respect to graduates of other universities.
Okay. Okay, we have Ms. Earl Sears. Who is your favorite Virginia president?
Well, I would have to say it would have to be the very first one, George Washington. He was a profile in courage, absolutely. It is because of him why we don't have monarchs here.
Yeah, but we still had the slave market, ma'am. You didn't think that through, did you?